Students, let's move on to the next module of this chapter. The module, the sums, absolutely similar to the previous module. It's just a continuation of that. So let's do it. The next sum, the same question, which of the following are APs? And if they form an AP, write the common difference and also write the next three terms. Right? Let's do it. The next sum, dealing with square roots. Calculations, very, very important, but very, very simple. Right? Let's do it. 3 plus root 2, 3 plus 2 root 2, 3 plus 3 root 2. First, we need to check if it's an AP or not. And for that, we need to find the difference between the consecutive terms. Right? Let's do it. A1 is 3, A2 is 3 plus root 2, A3 is 3 plus 2 root 2, and A4 is 3 plus 3 root 2. Right? Let's find the difference A2 minus A1. A2 is 3 plus root 2. Minus A1 is 3. 3 minus 3 gets cancelled and what remains is root 2. Simple. Let's move on to the next thing. What's the next thing? A3 minus A2. 3 plus 2 root 2 minus 3 plus root 2. Open the brackets, but when you're opening the brackets, the sign of both the terms will change. So please take care about that in the exam, right? Let's do it. 3 plus 2 root 2 minus 3 minus root 2. Now 3 and 3 will get cancelled and 2 root 2 minus root 2 is again root 2. Clear? Let's move on. A4 minus A3 is 3 plus 3 root 2 inside a bracket minus 3 plus 2 root 2 inside a bracket. Let's open these brackets. What do we get? 3 plus 3 root 2 minus 3 minus 2 root 2. 3 gets cancelled. 3 root 2 minus 2 root 2. 3 root 2 minus 2 root 2 is again root 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. So 3 root 2 minus 2 root 2 is 1 root 2. That is root 2. Clear? Is the difference same? Yes, it is. So it is definitely an AP. Right? Because it is an AP, now what we need to do is we need to write the next three terms. That is, we are supposed to find the values of A5, A6 and A7. Let's do it. How do we do it? Add D, get the next term. So A5 will be equal to A4 plus D. What is A4? A4 is 3 plus 3 root 2 and D is root 2. So you get 3 plus 3 root 2 plus root 2. Now 3 is a rational number. 3 root 2 and root 2 are irrational numbers. You can add 3 root 2 and root 2. You cannot add 3 to them. Right? Because a rational number cannot be added to an irrational number. Right? So what do we get? 3 plus 3 root 2 plus root 2 is 4 root 2. 3 root 2 plus root 2 is 4 root 2. 3 plus 4 root 2 is 3 plus 4 root 2. Don't write it as 7 root 2 because 3 is a rational number and 4 root 2 is an irrational number. Don't add the 2. 3 plus 4 root 2. Clear? Let's move on. A6 will be A5 plus D. That's 3 plus 4 root 2 plus root 2. 4 root 2 plus root 2 will be 5 root 2. So the answer is 3 plus 5 root 2. Again, don't write it as 8 root 2. Right? Next is A7 is equal to A6 plus D. That's root 2 plus 3 plus 5 root 2. Now 3 plus 5 root 2 plus root 2 will become 3 plus 6 root 2. Again, don't write it as 9 root 2. Right? So the final answer will be D is equal to root 2 and the next three terms are 3 plus 4 root 2, 3 plus 5 root 2 and 3 plus 6 root 2. As simple as that. Right? Let's move on to the next sum. The next sum is A square, A3, A raised to 3 and A raised to 4. This is what we need to do. We need to find the difference between the consecutive terms. But before that, let A1 be A, let A2 be A square, A3 be A cube and A4 be A raised to 4. Right? Let's find the difference. A2 minus A1, that's A square minus A. Can you simplify this? The only thing we can do is A square and A. A is common. So let's take A common. Let's see what happens. You get A. In the bracket, you get A minus 1. Can't do anything to it. Leave it as it is. Let's move on. A3 minus A2 will be A cube minus A square. Again, A square is common this time. In the bracket, you have A minus 1. So first difference was A into A minus 1. The second difference is A square into A minus 1. Are the differences same? No, they are not. Hence, it is not an AP. And because it is not an AP, there is no common difference. So you cannot find the next three terms. Simple. Good, it is not an AP, right?